Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime, live from our studio here in Kokomlemle, Accra. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. Coming up, maturing cocoa bills unilaterally rolled over without consent of investors. We'll tell you how monies were paid into account and subsequently withdrawn as banks blame directive from the Bank of Ghana. Plus, individual bondholders react to finance minister's claims the economy cannot accommodate their complete exemption. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration said a contract which was supposed to cost government 1.4 million cedis was executed at 7.9 million because the contractor fell ill. There is more as Public Account Committee surcharged Honorable Hannah, Her Excellency Hannah, to pay over $13,000 back to the state. We have details of that story now. Also, a new road safety study has revealed that majority of road crashes in Ghana's capital, Accra, occur in the evenings and at night. Users today learning that monies paid to investors who purchased cocoa bills that matured yesterday have been withdrawn from individual investors' accounts without their consent. Cocoa Board has issued the bills to raise funds. Many had bought the bills expecting to be paid back their monies with interest on Thursday. Now, Joy News understands the monies were actually paid on Thursday, only to be reversed on Friday. Banks have all day been under pressure from affected customers. The banks have pointed to a directive from the Bank of Ghana ordering them to unilaterally roll over the bonds without first seeking the consent of the investors. We have been speaking to one affected investor. Listen.
It's cocoa bill. So the short story is cocoa bill. It's matured yesterday, and when it matured, the funds were deposited in the account. And I decided to go to the bank today. And when I went there today, the money had been taken out of the account. And when I asked, the tellers were not able to tell me anything. They just said that it's a directive that has come for all the funds to be automatically rolled over. And I was asking that, if money has come into an account, I have a contract with the account that money should be deposited in the account. I don't have any contract with the bank that monies will be taken out of the account without my permission. And that has happened. Why should it happen? And they said there's a directive, and there's little they can tell me than to say that there was a directive that all the money should be rolled over automatically. And I was very surprised because we were told that T-bills were not going to be touched, and cocoa bills, if T-bills are not going to be touched, cocoa bills were even more safer because it's a cocoa bond instrument. So I was just shocked. So that's exactly what happened, and even the certificate for the rollover, I don't have it, and I don't know. I don't know what I can even do about it, because it's something that I had planned. That so I was going to pay my wife's school fees with, and now I don't even know how to even go and break the news to my wife, because I told her that it's going to happen, but it is what it is.
So when they said they've been instructed, the bank has been instructed to roll over, did they tell you to roll over till when? 6 months. For the next 6 months?
Yes.
Which means that you're possibly expecting it in June, thereabout? July. So you invested in it 6 months back?
No, I invested in an instrument that was already running. So I invested in it for like 3 months. So when I went to the bank, I told the bank that I can't wait for 6 months. So I need a running investment where it's left for 3 months to mature. So they just rolled me onto a running investment. So you realize I started in September, so it was supposed to mature in January. It's matured in January. But the original instrument that I was rolled onto was an instrument that was running for 6 months.
Okay. So as it stands now, money was taken out of your account without your consent, and then your investment was also unilaterally rolled over without your consent.
Exactly.
And all the bank can tell you is that they've been instructed to take the money out and roll over for the next 6 months.
Sure, and I was not notified. I didn't get any info. It just happened, and I'm shocked because I got an info that if you were able to withdraw your money like yesterday when it's matured and hit your account, you were safe, because even that you are not even really safe, but you can have your money, because when they try to roll it over automatically, yours will bounce. But the exact money that was put in an account, if it is in the account just a day, it has automatically been rolled over, and we actually don't know. I don't really know what to say.
I guess a big question. What do you intend to do now?
Oh, what do I intend to do? It's difficult, Evan. It's difficult. I actually don't know.
Well, that's a very heartbreaking story there, especially the angle of his wife's education being truncated now as a result of what is happening. Our head of political desk and editor here at Joy News, Evan Smith, joins me in studio with more Evans. So, have we seen the bank account of this guy to really understand whether or not the money was paid?
Yeah, so if you look at the bank statement, so he goes to the bank, this was happening. He sees the money out, so he asks for a bank account to confirm, the statement to confirm what has happened. And we've seen a copy of that, and you will notice that on the 19th of January, which is yesterday, the money was paid, and the narration there is the redemption, the cocoa bills that was paid. And then a day after, which is today, 20th of January, the money had been debited. So there's credit, you see clearly stated on the statement, and then a day after, it's a debit. So that's a confirmation. And beyond that, we've now also heard from other customers who are having the same experience as well. Some of the monies were left in the account for more than 24 hours, actually. Some of them were taken out literally a couple of hours ago. And we're also learning that some customers actually withdrew the monies. And banks are now having to call them to say, return the monies that you've withdrawn, because we are under instructions now to return that money back to the Bank of Ghana.
What do we know more about this? How are they explaining the reason for those withdrawals?
So for this particular customer in question, who you had there, they say that when he pushed, the bank explained to him that this is a directive from the Bank of Ghana and that his investment has been rolled over without his permission. And he says he did not instruct the bank to roll over because he had invested this money so he can take it once matures to pay for the wife's school fees. So of course that it's not an instruction he'd given to the bank. We also did an independent check to try and understand what was really happening. Now, two key things we learned. That one, apparently over the years, the Bank of Ghana, in each time the cocoa bills matured, the Bank of Ghana had paid on behalf of Cocoa Board. And the Bank of Ghana had decided that this time they wouldn't do it. And they then instructed Cocoa Board to say, you have fixed deposits with some of the banks, with banks in Ghana. Well, liquidate those fixed deposits and use that to take care of the maturing bills. The question then, what is curious to us is, if that's the case, why did the Bank of Ghana allow the funds to go into accounts before the reversal? And when did they realize that the Cocoa Board had fixed deposits that then triggered this reversal? So that's a bit of this that is confusing. As a result of what has happened today, as we reported, the entire day, banks have been under tremendous pressure from their customers. And the Bank of Ghana has called for an emergency meeting with MDs of all commercial banks in Ghana. We're not sure whether that meeting had ended, but it's been a marathon one indeed to try and resolve. As you can imagine, this is a major crisis because it's a panic situation. It affects individuals and customers of the banks who are realizing that monies that you saw in your account yesterday, that you went to sleep comfortable, that it's secure in your account.
That you get it today.
Get it today for your own, personal purposes. You wake up this morning, you still see it in your account. Later in the day, money disappears. You go to the bank, and the bank is saying, we are under instruction not to reverse the account. So there is understandably a lot of confusion. Now, initially, what happens is, in the absence of a proper verified information from the Bank of Ghana, and we haven't had that, rumor fills the space. And so people were afraid that this default, and this is a default, by the way, is with treasury bills. But it's not treasury bill. This is not treasury bill. This is a specific bill. It's called the Cocoa Bill. And it is a situation that has arisen between Cocoa Board and the Bank of Ghana that has to be resolved, but the banks have been caught in the middle of this.
Okay, let's join Dr. Richmond Kwame Frimpong. He is an investment consultant joining us on phone for more on this. Doc, grateful that you could join us. So, in your practice, has this ever happened, and what do you foresee to be the interpretation of what is happening?
Right. Good evening. No, not the example you guys are giving. I must say that we are still yet to verify if indeed it is the case. But from what you have just narrated, it's basically a mature bill that is supposed to be refunded or pay interest on maturity as instructed by the client. And for some reason, the client sees the payment in the account. And then in just a matter of minutes or hours or something, there is a reversal of that transaction. It's not something that happens because usually any purchase of any debt instrument like that thrives on trust and confidence, and particularly in the times we are in where we are navigating our way out of some challenges that the economy is facing. Many people are already not too confident about near zero risk investments, and this includes treasury bills and bonds and cocoa bills. And so it's a bit worrying, and I would be very glad if we can really delve deeper to really ascertain if it's the case. But we don't expect to see that happening.
What could be the explanation for the reversal of the funds? We understand that over the years, Bank of Ghana pays these on behalf of the Cocoa Board. Is that what is happening, or because of the status of our economy now, there's no fund to engage in this, and that's why Bank of Ghana has decided, I won't do this?
Well, you will not be able to tell, but if it's a Cocoa bill, then it's underwritten by the Cocoa Board. And so the Bank of Ghana issues that security on the back of maybe the Cocoa Board's guarantee. And so there may be a challenge, if it's true, there may be a challenge between the funds available in Cocoa Board's name and the bills that the funds are being underwritten by. And so the Bank of Ghana, particularly at this level of, or at this time, will not want to expose itself so much if it wants to control liquidity, or it wants to even manage inflation, or it wants to make sure that there is some control and some stability in the supply of money. And so before it issues such, it would want to see some guarantee or some underwriting from, say, the Cocoa Board. And so maybe if that kind of provision is not available, then the Bank of Ghana immediately it notices that would probably want to reverse until it is so certain and sure that that cover is up there. And so let's say there could be a Cocoa Board fixed deposit or something with the bank, and the central bank is looking forward to seeing that maybe Cocoa Board liquidate them and instruct the banks to use them to pay the mature bill. And so would not rather want to release funds on their own record so that the invest happens. So it's something that is unfolding, and we need to understand it. But naturally, cocoa bills are not supposed to have such complications. If they mature and they are promised some payment, those payments are paid. Unless there is an error. Sometimes there could be an error of credit. And if there is an error of credit, they need to be debited to reverse that error. But other than that, cocoa bills are fairly safe.
Okay. So if I am a customer and I'm expecting that my, what I bought, the bill I bought, has matured and therefore I'll be credited, and I was duly credited and the money has gone off, what are the options available to me?
I think that you should be calm, and you see, you might have bought it from, say, a fund manager or a brokerage house or maybe a primary dealing bank, and whichever way you bought it. For a security like that, there is an account that holds it, all security. That account is called the Central Securities Depository, the CSD. And so if it's about interest payment, immediately the maturity is done. It is an interest payment or even if it's a refund, that comes into your account. In this particular example you are citing, you are saying that it was credited into the regular account and then reversed on the instruction of a rollover. So for the individual, you just check your CSD account to verify if that reversal is sitting in there with the principal and the interest, and then if it's been rolled over, on what rate has the rollover been done. So you can verify that security as long as it sits in your CSD. If it sits there, then you are fairly safe. But if you check your CSD and it's not there, and also the payment on your account has to be reversed, that is when we could probably be worried. But in the meantime, it's important to double check. If it's still sitting in your CSD, then I think you shouldn't be worried.
All right. Grateful. But you are not a lawyer, but you understand the banking practice. If someone takes money away from my account without my knowledge, can I sue?
Too early. Too early to see. So if it's an error, maybe it's a credit error, it's a debit error, anything it might be.
No, on this statement we saw, they've written roll over, of Cocoa Board bill. So it means that his investment has been rolled over without his consent.
Well, that can call for some kind of legal action. But I think there is time to understand what has happened. And until you do that, it will be premature to just take it up legally. Remember, it will come at a cost, however. And so I think at this stage, what is required is being calm to understand what really is happening. So that if you can ascertain that indeed it is against your instruction, then you can take some advice.
Okay. All right. Grateful. Richmond Kwame from Point is an investment consultant, editor and head of political desk. Evans Mensah is still here with me. So Evans, you listen to him. Your final concluding words.
I mean, so another thing that if you speak to those affected, they're worried about is, okay, so they don't even know the rollover. Is it at the same interest that they first sign on to the investment with? And people are confused there. There are some who are actually telling us that they fear that the new interest rate, the rollover interest rate, is not the same as they sign on, and so the terms of the cocoa bills they fear have been changed without their knowledge. They were not consulted. Obviously, some clarity, some form of a statement is urgently required from the Bank of Ghana in particular, or from Cocoa Board on this.
Grateful to you. That's Evans Mensah. He's head of political desk here at Joy News. Now, there is a strong push for the victims of the Apiati explosion to be compensated. All speakers at the launch of a report on a disaster that razed to the ground an entire community and killed 13 people are demanding that compensation is paid to those affected. We'll bring you that report shortly. But first, here is Maxwell Agbaba with a recount of that accident.
The explosion rocked the small community near Bogoso exactly a year ago. Apiatse was flattened. Bodies were littered all over, with some of them trapped and buried under the rubble. The vehicle carrying the explosives shattered into tiny pieces.
My old house is closer to the road.
Oh, your house is closer to the road.
I have so many things.
Joseph Apia was at work when he was informed about the death of his son, 21-year-old Justice Kwesi Takwa. He also lost his house and the pub.
I've lost so many things. Like I respectfully said, I have drinking spot somewhere, store somewhere, and then 5 bedrooms. And then my new house is 10 bedrooms self-contained.
10 bedrooms?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom. When the spark started, yeah, he rather rushed to the house and then woke the mother up. The mother was sleeping. Then went back to take videos of the incident. That is what happened. That is what my wife told me.
So he was very close to you.
Now, speaking at the event, the executive director of the mining advocacy NGO, WACAM, Daniel Owusu-Kranting, said the state and the mining industry has not been transparent and accountable over the circumstances surrounding the explosion.
As part of the findings by WACAM, it said although the Piazzi incident attracted national and international interest, the investigations of the circumstances that led to the accident have been shrouded in secrecy to the extent that the outcomes of the report of the investigation have not been made available to the public. WACAM says as at the time of its data collection, there was no talk of compensation to the individuals who lost all their properties and in some cases their lives as a result of the explosion. Yes, Executive Director of WACAM, Daniel Owusu-Kranting.
If there were lapses in enforcement of the regulation and the company is found liable, then the company has to pay compensation. And that is why we are saying that the report, the fact-finding committee's report, is very, very critical for the people who have been affected, and for those of us who also have an interest in ensuring that we protect the rights of people, vulnerable people. Because it gives us clear standing on what to do, on what kind of actions that we can take, or we can support the communities to take. And that is why we are hammering on the fact that the government or the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources should try and make the report available. It is also important for us to know that this is an issue of public interest. Once it's a public interest issue, then once the fact-finding committee report is out, so you take a very short time, and then you don't even get people to start finding out where is the report.
One of the researchers, who is a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran, wants the compensation paid to the victims and the details of the report to be made public.
Yeah, I mean, government set up a committee to do an investigation, into what happened in Apia. The question is, the report has been presented to the minister. Why is the report not a public document now? Because this is an issue of public interest. So why is the report not public? Because this is the report, apart from establishing culpability, the report will also establish the processes that went on, what happened, what didn't happen. Okay. So there are lessons we as citizens can learn. They have not been compensated. And we don't know if any process has begun, to determine. Because of course people will have to be compensated for different reasons. We are not aware of whether anything like that has started. As at the time we collected the data, there was nothing of that nature. But people will need to be compensated.
Associate Executive Director of WACAM, Hannah Owusu-Kranting, is also demanding action.
Review it. And when I was making my submission, I said this was of great public interest. And so some of these documents should not be classified documents. They should be made public. So I was expecting that the day the minister announced that it received the report, maybe we take 1 week to review it and then make it public, but it's still not a public document. So yes, we did our own assessments based on the ground truths. Because this explosion has not happened anywhere in Ghana. So this is a first time case. But then we need to document that for posterity and not to be lost. Otherwise, 1 year they are having a series of activities at Apiati for about 1 week, the memorial service and this service. And what happens? We don't know. When we talk about compensation, it's not a matter of so you were hurt, so take this or that. Compensation is in various forms and levels. But if we do not know who is liable, how do we even demand compensation? And so the opaqueness of this whole process is quite worrisome for some of us. And we need to do this exercise for all of us Ghanaians to demand this accountability from our government. So, as we speak, yes, I can say anything and I can go scot-free because government who is supposed to respond and represent our interests is not charitable with information.
So, how is the living standard of the survivors currently? Our Western Regional correspondent Ina Thalia Kwanzaa traveled to Apiati relief camp to tell the stories of how these people are living now.
You know, not me pamade. It's not movie. Me pamade, but I am a dukechi. It's me who be movie.
I was a seamstress and I was home when I heard a bang. I wondered what it was. Although I didn't see what caused the fire, I saw the truck catch fire.
Cecilia Aban is a seamstress here at Apiati and one of the survivors of that gut-wrenching incident here at Apiati that killed more than a dozen people.
Back be no into uncle school. So she did then one was ma. Mokwa akwashosho menu back on
I was looking for the driver, but realized he was standing next to me. I had left my house for an errand when I heard the explosion.
We know. Can't Dadiano be. I
was hit by a stray metal in the buttocks. The metal has been removed, but now I struggle to sit down to work. I am in serious pain.
She still feels some pains in her vagina.
I didn't wait, so say be almost a me to so stra, you are annoying, Mamma, in the mean to meet in a foot, and Pamadin.
So we're trying to find a better place and then stand. Because you have been car, and there is a place we drew. So when you we moved to maybe a withdrew one night, I observed whatever. Immediately we took some few steps, then boom! We had a blast. Unfortunately for me, my laptop bag, through my lens, scattered all over. But before mentioning, now when I'm in your name, I was in front, but they were all down. But God being so good, I saw my leg torn into two.
Like two? Can you describe it?
It was torn into two, like from here. What's so day? And I think let me check if I have the images. In fact, it was very, I was so scared.
Okay.
I knew that was the end of life for me. So I was just sitting down. But I had all my ID cards in my laptop bag, which has been thrown somewhere. So I was trying to get it so that in case I die, they will find my ID cards on me and then know that this is I'm very lucky I had the small phone too, which is in my pocket. So the only thing, I saw the bleeding, everything, then I had to call my wife. My dear, I think, yep, we're just traveling, so if this is what has happened, this is what has happened, and I think I cannot make it, because I saw people who were close to me dead.
I couldn't look Kofi straight in his eyes throughout our conversation. At a point, he lifted his shirt to show me how he now attends nature's call. A tube-like container with a deposit of a mushy substance in it hangs around his stomach. The substance in there is a fecal matter. Just like using a chamber pot for such purposes, he disposes of the waste, wipes it up, and moves on until he feels the urge to respond to nature again.
So those were gory pictures there. And apologies for those videos there. But you're still watching Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration says a contract which was supposed to cost government 1.4 million cedis was executed at 7.9 million cedis because the contractor fell ill. The contract for the rehabilitation of Edu Lodge Guest House, which was awarded to the International Development Resources in 2019 was finally executed in 2021. The explanation from the ministry is that the contractor fell ill during the period. There is more in the following report.
The contract for the rehabilitation of the Edu Lodge Guest House was awarded to International Development Resources on March 15, 2007, but came to a halt in 2008. According to the acting chief director of the ministry, Ambassador Ramses Joseph Cleland, the project came to a halt a year later due to the ill health of the contractor. The ministry said the project was revisited in March 2017, and upon the request of the consultant, it was revalued to 7.9 million Ghana cedis for the same contractor to execute.
The problem with that was that the contractor at some point was not well. He fell ill, and it delayed the continuation of the project for a while.
Clearly unhappy with the clarification, the committee directed that the foreign ministry furnishes them with all the contract documents within a week for a proper determination of the matter.
And I was hoping that you will say that because of some of this, you took steps to execute the project and it won't happen again, but you want to defend it. How do you say that somebody fell sick because of that? A contract with the state couldn't be delivered in 10 years.
Dealing with some other infractions from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Public Accounts Committee has surcharged the former head of the team to Tel Aviv, Her Excellency Hannah Nyakon, to pay over $13,000 back to the state. The money was captured as an unapproved expenditure by the mission on Ghana's 62nd anniversary celebration.
The embassies should be given approval before they spend. Just like the ministry is also given approval by Parliament through Appropriation Act for you to spend. They should also learn to do the same. You don't just go and spend anyhow, then you write to the ministry to give you approval. So, Her Excellency Hannah Nyako should refund the 13,619. Clerk, take note of that.
Meanwhile, the committee has directed the Attorney General to take the Registrar General's Department to court over the award of a contract worth 360,000 cedis without due process.
For this one, I'm referring you to court. That's it. I'm referring you to court. On Tuesday, I referred about 26 BMCs under the Ministry of Health to court. They will come to you for prosecution. So, Clerk, add Registrar General Department to the list.
The committee has adjourned sitting until Monday, January 30, 2023. James Kwesiavagis reports for Joy News.
Other stories now, and a new road safety study has revealed that majority of road crashes in Ghana's capital, Accra, occur in the evenings and at night. The report, titled the Accra Road Safety Report 2021 and conducted by Vital Strategies, and sought to understand why road crashes are still high in the capital despite significant investment to address it. Anthony Menu of our research desk has more.
The report focused on the Accra metropolitan area and provided information on injuries and death from road traffic crashes in the area. The major findings include an overall 2% increase in the number of crashes, but a 10% decrease in fatalities between 2020 and 2021. Vital Strategies cite speeding, drink driving, lack of helmet, seatbelt, and child restraint use as the major causes of the crashes. Raphael Ewa is the Africa Regional Technical Advisor for Vital Strategies.
There was a 10% decrease in the number of fatalities in 2021, which is the reference here, compared to the previous year, 2020.
One major concern was why majority of the accidents were occurring at weekends and in the evenings.
So in Accra, we see that the highest number of deaths occurred following crashes from 12 in the afternoon to 2 p.m., that 2-hour period, and from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the evening. This pattern has been very consistent for the last 5 years, and this finding can be useful to police operational staffing and planning for risk factor enforcement. Again, when the risk periods we are seeing that more than half of the deaths occurred following crashes on weekends. So Fridays to Sundays are the risky periods for fatal crashes, and emphasis on fatal crashes. Again, this has been very consistent. This has been a very consistent pattern since 2016. And this can partly be explained by speeding, drink driving, or reduced police enforcement on weekends.
The study also revealed that the number of road traffic fatalities were about 3 times higher than the official police reported figures. This, they say, is attributed to some victims who die after police have accessed the accident scene. The World Health Organization recommends using at least 2 independent data sources to estimate road injuries and death. A Bloomberg Philanthropies spokesperson, Becky Bavinga, also outlined the importance of the report for road safety.
The importance of this report is that it highlights the exact data points that the city will need to target their interventions. So now you know when exactly, where exactly, and who exactly are getting injured and killed on your streets due to road crashes.
Now, to be diagnosed with a hole in heart could mean a death sentence for many in Ghana because of the cost implication. On the average, heart surgery in Ghana costs between $6,000 and $13,000. With the cost of heart surgery out of the reach of most Ghanaians, many patients are left to wait for the benevolence of individuals and organizations, and in some cases, die before care would arrive. But as Elton Brobe reports, a Chinese investor has stepped in to pay for the cost of treatment, at least for the next 10 years.
Statistically, 1 child out of 100 births has a heart or chest condition. Smoking, excessive drinking, long exposure to X-ray, and poor eating habits by pregnant women are some of the causes of heart and chest conditions in children. The taking of drugs without prescription and the failure of some expectant mothers to attend antenatal care are the other causes. For most patients suffering the disease, cost is a huge barrier. Here is consultant at the National Cardiothoracic Center, Dr. Kojo Mensah.
One of the pains that we have had is to see a child with a hole in heart condition who can be saved through relatively simple surgery. And there are no resources to be able to do that. It's very painful. Sometimes when you mention the amount, the parents break out in tears because some of them cannot actually imagine what the equivalent of $6,000 look like because they work with such a very small capital. And to have the opportunity to be able to do free surgeries for 25 children every year, that's about 1/3 of our capacity now. It's extremely significant.
But there is hope now, at least for the next 10 years, because patients without means to undergo surgery can apply for support from the Shenyuan and Shenyuat Foundation. Named after 17-year-old Shenyuan, himself a hole in heart survivor, is a son of Chinese investor Shen Shan, who is a founder and chairman of the Sunda and Keda groups of companies with operations in Ghana in the last 20 years. Realizing the difficulties his son went through and the impact it had on his family after being diagnosed with a hole in heart at age 5, he gladly accepted a call when businessman Herbert Mensah suggested to him the idea of lending a hand to help patients in need at the Cardiothoracic Center.
Playing some of my pound from my heart. You know, when my elder son was born in 2005, after he was born 4 or 5 months, we got from the doctor, he has the heart disease. That time, the period, we feel very painful. And we go to a very good hospital in China, and he do the operation. He gets saved. But after he gets saved, in the next 4 or 5 years, he always sick, because the body is not so strong. I feel we need to do something. But actually, you know, in year 2005, that time I discussed with my wife. I said we need to help the people, the children who has the heart disease in the future.
Now, it was a moment of joy in worship as the management and staff of the Kumasi unit of the multimedia group converged at the Miracle Manor Church to hold its annual Thanksgiving service. The event was to celebrate the sustenance of God as the company commits the new year into the hands of the Most High. Here's a report from the Thanksgiving service in Kumasi by Love FM's Nana Boachide Dankwa Yadom.
Staff from all departments raised their voices in unity in appreciation to God's mercies, led by the Miracle Manor Choir. Head pastor of the Miracle Manor Church, Bishop Joy Obed-Obing, underscored the need to capitalize on opportunities that come with a new year.
Another strength and another grace for the ensuing years. We have come that you will replenish us with the energies of an eagle. You will give us what it takes to be able to soar high above every challenge, above every storm, above any uncertainties this year.
He prayed for the company's growth in 2023.
Pray for every staff of multimedia. We want to pray that our lives will be preserved. God will protect us. He said, I will keep you in perfect peace. Those whose mind is stayed on him. We want to pray that the Lord will be a shield around us. The Bible says that he suffered no man to do them wrong. We want to pray that everyone will be protected of the Lord. Everyone will be kept under the shadows of his wings. We want to raise your voice and pray for yourself and pray for every staff of multimedia.
Staff and management of multimedia, including some managers from Accra who joined in the Thanksgiving service, shared their expectations for the new year.
For us, we say that Christ at work. It is not a mere slogan. If we look at whatever we were able to achieve in 2022, we know that Christ is at work. And the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so we believe that 2020...
to all industry players, please
so this is like
support this one.
He didn't decide to do it on his own.
They featured him.
Wow.
It's big for Ghana. So whatever it is, please support. And this is for Ghana. This is for us. We're trying to promote Ghana to the rest of the world. And so this is the best way to go. Big ups to you, Sarkodie. We are fully supporting you on this one. But Brace, former Trades and Industry Minister Ekospio Gabra has advised the youth to take advantage of the creative industry, adding it has a huge potential to bridging the unemployment gap. He's been speaking in a yet-to-air interview on PM Personality Profile with Aisha Ibrahim.
And the creative industries, I think, is one of the economic, areas where our young people, talents, can blossom very easily.
Definitely.
Because it has very, easy to enter. Not many barriers of entry. As long as you have talent, you can sing, you can dance, you can walk, you can joke, you can cook, all those things, you can sew. So people who are graduates, the Minister of Finance told us it will take up to 10 years for somebody who graduates these days to get a job, up to 10 years. So every year, only 10% will get a formal job, either in the private sector or in the public sector. So it is very, very important. That's why ABCD does these mentorship programs for young people to be appreciative and be aware of the current economic circumstance of Ghana and the fact that you should now depend as much on your own talent as possible. And everybody will find a talent that they have. Photography, camera work, all talent, beauty, arrangements, sewing, clothes, personal talents that can get you a job.
Somebody, yes, yeah. Oh.
So if you're looking forward to that dance, please tune in this evening. It's at 9 p.m. here. It's the PM personality profile with Aisha Ibrahim. But we're still on the matter is the US series of E-Vibes. We're still showing it. This time, tomorrow, we'll be showing the episode for K. William. He is a musician also and a manager for the DWP US wing. And I'm happy to reintroduce you to the US-based Ghanaian musician who happens to obviously manage the US wing of DWP Academy. He's my guest this weekend on the Joy News channel, 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Please make a date. And on the Joy Prime channel, it's 4:30 tomorrow. You can catch a repeat of the show on Sunday on Joy News at 10:30 a.m. Also, every Friday on Joy News, you will get a repeat of E-Vibes. Here is, a promo of, the show that you should be expecting tomorrow.
Okay, so back.
We don't have the promo?
No, it's a wrap, I wish I could do.
But make sure that you tune in, call your family. If you're new, you're my disciple,
Okay.
E-Vibes disciple. Oh,
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Begs.
okay.
Grateful.
Am I talking
And-
too much?
No. Oh, Becky. Anyway, that's how we wrap up
It's
the
Friday.
bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Do enjoy the rest of our bulletin and the rest of our shows. And look, to enjoy your weekend, have it tight just like me and Becky will be enjoying our weekend.
Got me all.
Say again.
Me all.